Good evening, viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Social Development Outlook. I am your host, Makayla Browne. And just to remind you, this program is hosted and produced by the Communications Unit within the Ministry of Social Development. This show is used as a means of highlighting and showcasing the essential performances within this ministry and other related departments. At this point, we'll take our first break and be right back.
Communications Unit.
And we're back. They say true love never dies. Let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. Browne as they share with us their love story.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet.
I want to wish one and all blessed, belated Valentine's Day. I hope everybody had fun. Yesterday, had a little outing, perhaps a special dinner or some forbidden chocolate or whatever it was. A particularly good morning to the other couple. I think the Brandies. Is it Brandies over here? All right. Keep on giving thanks. Valentine's Day and the whole exercise of Valentine's began in the 3rd century. In fact, it was the priest, Saint Valentine, who they say was responsible for marrying couples out of the traditions of the church at the time. It's an annual festive celebration of love and friendship and adoration, and it's celebrated every year on the 14th of February. We give cards, some of us write poems and so on, leave love notes. I think you all could attest to some of those. Some persons give chocolates and roses. Some persons get engaged, or some persons choose to get married on Valentine's. And so the list goes on. Today, we are with Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Browne. Franklin is no stranger to any of us, and neither is Lorraine, Mrs. Browne, who celebrated, I understand, in excess of 6 decades of togetherness. Franklin is the son, or one of the offsprings of Eugenie, Daniel, and Thomas Browne, and Lorraine, of course. Her parents were Anne Henry and Thomas Henry. The moment when you will have blessed eyes on Lorraine and you said to yourself, that's the one. Was it a case of love at first sight, or did you have to walk no hell to get her?
Oh, we went to school together.
Okay.
And, well, of course, she was in a class a little behind me. So I didn't have anything of the sort of marriage because I had my little brothers and sisters to take care of. But the time came, and for somehow or the other, we got together. I can hardly say where, when, but we got along, and I think the best thing to do was to find a wife, in spite of my many. And so she was the only one.
Mrs. Browne, when you could give her a mic, give her the mic now. Mr. Browne, Mrs. Browne, when young Franklin came to you, and you're a gentleman, you will just whisper to one or two things in your ears and so on. What was your first reaction to the young Franklin when he came and tell you, you don't like it, and so and so and so?
Even before that,
Put it to him.
even before that, Commonwealth School
Put the mic to him.
was built with 2 half windows to the eastern side. So if you're in this classroom, you have to talk to the person in the other classroom. And every afternoon, he would make it his business to come around where he know I would walk to go home. Because where Especialties now was down there was my home. And he makes sure that every afternoon he come by the window, leave where he used to teach in the day and come there and and he made it a habit before he could approach me. And when he did approach me, he didn't even know what to say.
He was going to shy you, mean?
He was shy, yes,
Mr. Browne shy?
because we had a couple of years, before the marriage. Not that we were engaged or anything and doing anything that is wrong, but we were just getting to know each other.
All right, so from the school window, maybe he will have, walk you down to the bridge or something occasionally. Tell us, what are some of the things that you will have done together in the first instance when as you say locally, when you just get in? What are some of the things you used to do together?
But sometimes we stay at school as teachers and we would study together, not especially with him. And sometimes the teachers from Whitehall would come down and we have meetings down there and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I couldn't allow him to follow me home because that would be trouble. So we used to talk, whenever we get a little chance, we talk, but we couldn't let anybody know anything at that time. But he just wouldn't leave me alone.
Oh, he was persistent. Oh, boy.
And so the friendship grew and grew for about 5-6 years before we actually decided to get married.
Okay, we're going to come to that part in a while. You must have been a very beautiful young lady in the days, and you still are. Was there any time when you would have gotten jealous when some other young man would have even said anything to you?
Wait, what?
Anytime you ever see him get jealous for you to speak to anybody else?
Well, I really didn't know about that part, but people used to say he had a friend other than me.
All right, so the courtship grew from strength to strength. When did your parents get wind of this potential union, and what was their reaction to it?
Well, in those days, when you love a young lady, you have to write a letter to the parents to let the parents know that you are in love with this young lady. And then that is how it starts. At that time now, he would be allowed, when I become of age, to come and visit.
Okay. So back to you, Mr. Brown. That, I think we used to call it the letter of intent. Give him the mic. Do you remember what came over you, what kind of feelings you had when you were to put pen to paper? Do you remember what it said? Dear Sir Esquire, I wish to have the lovely hand. Do you remember anything about that letter?
No.
Okay, so the letter was written, as was the custom in those days. They had to write to the parents to ask for the hand. Not like today, you just jump up and, walk over people in the house to look at the things and just get married out willy-nilly and so on. There was a proper way to do things, so to speak. And so the letter was written, so you now had the chance to officially, court Lorraine and so on. What were some of the things that you used to do during the courting period? I know you may have gone to Sunday school together, you would have taught together and so on and so on. But what are some of the intimate things you used to do? Not all the glowing details, but what are some of the things you used to do together as a budding couple?
Believe me, I can't remember.
Well, maybe Lorraine could help us then. give Lorraine the mic, she can help us. What are some of the things you and Franklin used to do as a little budding couple?
Well, the closest I got to him was when we used to have school concerts.
Oh, okay.
Because we were brilliant children and the concert wouldn't have any taste if we were not in it.
Okay.
So those times we would chat a little bit, in secret and whatnot, but that time nobody is suspecting anything because we're not doing anything in public. And so the relationship grew and grew, and he always told me that I was going to be his wife. But I wasn't taking him on at that point.
Bye. How did you feel when your mother and said, okay, I will accept Franklin as my son-in-law? How did you feel about that?
I felt good because I was hoping that one day I would get married.
Okay.
And Mommy always said, we must take care of ourselves because she's father and mother for us. We don't have any father.
Okay,
So I was very cautious, but we fell out a few times.
Oh, you had a little...
Yes, one time we planned to go for a bicycle ride after school. So he at the St. James's end and I am at Combermere. So we planned to meet after school and we're going eastward. When I got on the bicycle in the afternoon and riding, going up to Brickhill, by the water, he had a water pipe there before he reached the school. And two of the teachers were coming down, it had a hill there coming down. And as soon as they see me, the hill now, we're going to go up the hill, but I come off the bike for the hill is a bit steep.
Right.
And they started laughing. So I said, well, something is up. So I stood up, I came off the bike and I stood up, and when they came, I said, Alfred, what it is you are laughing for? And they laugh again. And then I asked him, where is Teacher Franklin? They said they don't know, but they signed with that they had a bicycle.
Trouble.
Well, when I reached up there now, I said, well, is the school closed? They said, yes, they were the last to leave. And Mr. Browne went along on his bike. So I kept riding and I kept riding. And when I reached up to the top of that road, there's a road going up to the prison farm and one on the main road. So I met a man there who used to look after the animals for the government.
For Madden's, yeah.
Yes. So I said, Leonard, do you see Teacher Franklin for the afternoon after school? He said, no. I said, what way you think he going? where do you think I should go, this way or that way, because I'm supposed to meet me up to go for a bike ride? He said, well, you better take this way. That's the way to the prison farm. When I went and turned across now, going into Butlers, there was this young man on his bicycle with his foot across the bar and a young lady by his side.
Oh, Lord. Teacher Franklin? Oh, dear.
So what's going on here?
Put the mic to your mouth.
I said, what's going on here? And all that I said to him, good afternoon, Mr. Browne. And with that, I turned back, going back home now. The afternoon mashup. So when he passed me a new road, because, well, even though that I left him there, I know he would ride faster than I would ride, and he would pass me a new road. Man, the man passed me, whoop! I said, hey, if I was nearby, he would have blown me off the bike. In those days, we don't have any electricity. And I went home. And I started to write a letter.
Oh, Lord.
And then when I finished, the end of the letter was, and so we end the friendship forever and a day. And I had him on the run for 11 months. Every afternoon coming from school, he put his bike across the road to stop me. And that went on for some time. But see how we catch up now. He had a lady in Gingerland by the name of Miss Flaherty.
Okay.
And they were having a farewell party for her. And they asked each school to give 2 items. So I was nicely dressed in an evening gown. And I had a recitation to say.
Oh, boy.
And I was the talk of the night. When we reached now home, we go into the truck now. It was Wilfred Maynard's truck, carried us. No light in the truck. So when I reached, because everybody telling me how nice this poem was and how nicely dressed I am and whatnot, I only get a seat. And one seat was left on one of the side benches. And so a man named Clean Hands called me and tell me, Teacher Lauren, come, there's a seat here for you. Because that time he knew that Franklin and I are friends, but he didn't know that we're not on terms.
Okay, I followed.
So then he said, come, keep coming. Come right up here to the head of the truck. And I sat down. In the dark now, I don't know who was sitting down by. So when I look to my left, I sees him and he begin to say, good night.
Oh, boy.
And, I say, this man, we just call him Clean Hands. Clean Hands stop there and say, Oye, I don't hear the news up here. 2 old fire stick catch up on my bun very bright.
So Clean Hands do a little buzzer than you?
Clean Hands make such botheration that night about these 2 lovers and how they light a bun so bright. I say, but you can't hush your mouth? He said, no, because I see that the fire burning bright. And I want everybody from that
Item?
Yes. And so we drove along. When we reached the camps now, for me to come out of the truck, he won't let me come out of the truck.
Oh, boy.
So I said, we got to go. But he said, well, you can come back down on the truck because the owner of the truck, the driver of the truck was from Monthly. So we drove up there, put him off, and then we came back down on the truck. That's when he gone fountain, and I come back down on the truck, and I reach home. And that was we never fall out again.
Good day. We are on the beautiful island, Queen City, Nevis. Some of us call it paradise. The corona pandemic had us down, but certainly we are not out. I'm King Hollywood, and I speak on behalf of the Queen City Taxi Association. And just to let you know, we are ready to welcome you to our shores as soon as the borders are reopened. And all safety protocols are in place just to make sure that you are safe and we are safe. See you when you get here. Nevis.
So it was a makeup on the truck with the fires burning. All right. Do you, there will have had to be a time. You said, I think you said earlier that you quoted for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Thereabout. Take us back a little bit to that day when he finally proposed. What was it like when he finally proposed to you? Or did he propose at all?
He did.
Oh.
He did. And well, you know, I tell you every afternoon you used to come and pester me. So I gave him a little hard time a few times and tell him when I pass here, don't say anything to me. But the more I tell him don't say anything, the more he say. So I couldn't stop him.
Well, they say the palm is gained by effort. All right, so okay, so Franklin proposed, and then between the day when you first realized that you were going to be an item to the time when, they said, that was 5 years, the coach for 5 years. Do you remember what he was wearing when he proposed to you? Or what you were wearing?
No,
Can you recall?
I can't remember. But in those days, I never used to wear uniform then.
Okay.
So it was an ordinary dress that I had on.
Was he nervous at all, or was he confident that you would have said yes for the proposal?
I tell you, I didn't say yes one time, you know. He had to say it a lot of times.
Oh my!
Because he don't get caught already.
So you had to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about in any relationship. There's always a first. There was, you know, there will have been the first look and the first smile and the first kiss, the first date, perhaps. But you just told us about the first fight and the makeup, and perhaps the first project you will have done together as young lovers. Tell us about that first kiss, man. I think everybody wants to know about first. You don't think so? Mr. Browne, do you recall the first time you pecked Lauren on the cheek? Your first kiss. Do you remember that first kiss? All right, so they were the first. Your first official date, Auntie Lauren, where did both of you go for the first date together as a not yet engaged but a courting couple?
Well, not really together, but when we have school outings.
Okay.
Sometimes I get to go, and sometimes I don't get to go.
Make to you.
You know?
Yeah.
But the closest I ever get to him is those school outings.
And that's our package for this evening. Once again, I'm your host, Michaela Browne, wishing you a pleasant evening. And don't forget to join us next week for another edition of the Social Development Outlook. See you then!